So Trent, both Michigan and Indiana are thought of as kind of big man-oriented teams. From your perspective, do you have a better matchup with either one of them?
Um, I mean, they're both two really good basketball teams. Obviously, with size, they challenge us on that in that area, especially on the glass. But I mean, I don't really think it matters at this point. With this, I mean, this is a Big Ten tournament. Everyone's fighting for their life to get to the final day. So it's going to be a bloodbath, a 12-round fight, for 40 minutes, whoever we play.
Does that mean you don't have a personal preference about which it is?
No, I don't.
Thanks, man. Congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
Hey Trent, last week when we were speaking with Coach Underwood, and I guess you seniors as well, a few times it was mentioned that you guys kind of went into the Big Ten tournament with an extra edge, wanting to prove that you maybe felt slighted with what happened with the Big Ten regular season championship a year ago. Going into the Big Ten tournament this year, is it a similar mindset or is it a little bit different? Or I guess, can you just describe the team's mindset overall?
Of course, I think we have to have that edge going into the tournament. As you can see this year, we've been in a lot of dog fights, late in the season. Everyone, we're everyone's Super Bowl, so everyone wants to beat us. So we just got to have the mindset to go into this tournament, where we're playing, with a target on our back, and everyone wants to get us. So, like I said, just having that mindset of just having that edge, going in the tournament, feeling like we still, I would say underrated, I guess, and don't get enough props, but we just got to be mentally focused, and be really, really hungry, in every game.
You mentioned that you guys feel like you're maybe a little bit underrated or maybe going unnoticed. Do you guys like that? Do you feel like that helps you carry a chip on your shoulder or play with an angry energy when you're on the court?
Of course. I think it's a good thing. I think it wakes everyone up. It gives everyone a different edge, going into the game. But I mean, also, we're still everyone's, Super Bowl game. Everyone wants to come and beat us every time they see us. So, I mean, like I said, we really just have to be mentally focused for, 40 minutes every game. Well, especially just Thursday, Friday opening up against whoever, on knowing that, we're going to get that team's best shot, despite, whatever happened in the regular season. This is a different, situation, and we know that we have to be mentally focused.
Thanks, Trent.
Good morning, Trent. Second team, all Big Ten. For you to get that, what's that mean to you, and does it mean anything more in your final year here at Illinois?
It means a lot. I've always thought I was kind of, pushed to the side, despite everything that's been going on. You guys know I don't really try to get into awards really. I really wanted the Defensive Player of the Year award. That was my main goal. That the second team really didn't excite me as much as winning the other award. But it's a huge accomplishment. It goes to show how hard I've worked, and well deserved. And I'm really just focused on Friday, and making sure this team is ready to go.
I know you touched on this a little bit on Sunday, but after such an emotional game, an emotional scene, how do you guys turn the page going into Indy?
We've been turning the page since Monday. So once we came back in oven, page was turned. 0-0, new season. We know it's when to go home now. So despite anything that happened in the regular season, it's a different season now. Like I said before, everybody's coming for our next. We know we're everybody's Super Bowl game, and we just got to be mentally ready for that, and take on the challenge of, just being, us, and being poised for 40 minutes and just going out there and competing.
Thanks, Trent. Appreciate it.
Hey, Trent, about a month ago, we didn't know what you guys would get out of Coleman, Hawkins, and Andre Cabello. What have they given you down the stretch here?
I think they just gave us a boost, offensively. Bello's finding his groove, his confidence. He's working off all the dust that he hasn't, that he had, not being a part of this team. for months. But like I said, also Coleman playing with a different edge. His confidence is through the roof right now. And, I mean, that's just what it's all about. That's what our season's been about. Next man up. And those two guys stepped up big time for us. And, I think we're peaking at the right time, especially just getting adding those two guys to, where we are headed. And I think it's going to be really, really good for us.
And obviously those guys' roles might be different than what they thought at the beginning of the year. What do you think it says about them, the program, you guys, that they've kind of seemingly bought into maybe different roles?
It means a lot to see, how they bought in. Obviously their mindset, especially Bello, him being a preseason All-American, Coleman, is probably could be one of the best players in his league. But just to see, how they changed their roles to buy into what coach want, to do whatever to help his team win is very important. Like I said, it's nice to have them, peak at this time, especially going into Big Ten tournament. It's going to make this team really, unique, and it brings a different dynamic, to different lineups and roles on this team.
Thanks, Trent. Appreciate it.
Hey, Trent, you guys obviously had really high expectations for yourselves as a team during the regular season. Now, turning to the postseason, do you guys as a team have greater expectations for yourselves? Do you feel that from the outside? And if so, how do you kind of deal with that in this type of winner go home kind of season?
I think it just comes with experience. I mean, from me, just playing for 5 years now. I think the most pressure I've had, it was last year playing with Ayo. I mean, it was, the level he played at, and his focus around this time was incredible. And I think, to be able to be a part of that and get through that with him kind of just, leveled me, at a time right now where I can just be focused. Pressure doesn't really bother me, at this time because of that in my experience. But as a team, I think, like I said, I think the biggest thing is just us going in with a level head, just knowing that everyone's coming for us and we know that we're going to have a target on our back. We just got to be ready to accept that and take on the challenge to, go out there and just be us and, just get the job done.
And with the regular season now put to bed, do you kind of look back and how do you best sum it up with all the injuries and the COVID and everything now that, you guys are the number one seed going into the tournament and kind of where you want to be at this point?
Like I said, I mean, our season was unique. Like I said, with injuries, COVID, guys being suspended, I mean, we really didn't get our whole team and play a game with our whole team until second semester, which is insane to me. But just to see how far we've come together and see how well we immediately, tighten up our group together for us to get to this point is incredible. And it goes to show, how much we care about each other. We all have the same mindset, same goal to, to win. And like I said, I'm glad we're peaking at the right time, heading into the tournament Friday. And I think it's very important, that we continue to just, stay together.
Thanks, Trent.
Do you feel like there are any similarities, Trent, maybe between this time last year and now? Maybe just how you feel like the team is playing, or just maybe kind of the vibe around the team? Anything you can maybe compare to?
Nah, not necessarily. I mean, I think there were 2 different seasons, especially with COVID. These are by far 2 different, seasons. That I couldn't really find any similarities. I mean, as far as, everyone having the same mindset, same goal, wanting to go into every game and win, and just playing hard for one another. I mean, that's as far as I can, see. But as far as season wise, I mean, I would say last year and this year are 2 different seasons.
All right. Thanks, Trent.
Trent, you mentioned that the season's been unique, obviously, with suspensions, injuries, and not having the team until the second half of the semester, or the second semester. But you find yourself, winning the Big Ten Conference, a share of the Big Ten title, being the number one seed into the Big Ten tournament. What aspect of the team or who on the team, after losing Io, allowed you guys by the end of the season to almost eclipse, if not, be at the same level of the team in terms of success that you were last year?
I think it just comes with experience. I mean, having a lot of core guys back, basically our whole starting five back, was important for this team. Bringing Kofi back, having Jake, having Monte, having Bello. I think it's important because you have, older guys who's been through it, been in those situations. Like I said, had experience last year in the tournaments and know what it takes, to win, and knowing you got to compete at a high level, to win. So, but I think the biggest thing for us was our freshmen, really buying in, having that confidence in themselves, and coming to practice every day, pushing us, and just competing hard, and just biggest thing, just mentally staying dialed in. Like I said, it was a next man up mentality season, and they've all been ready every time their name was called, and stepped up, and they've been huge for us. So I think that was really key goal for this team, on us excelling, in our season. But I think it was really just having our younger guys have the confidence to step up and make plays for us.
All right. Thank you, Trent.
Trent, kind of on a similar theme, it seems like you guys have played almost kind of every possible lineup imaginable with all these kind of injuries and COVID. I guess having to play in so many different ways, does that lend itself to any advantages this time of year?
Oh, for sure. I mean, teams don't really prepare for, the different lineups we throw at people. Like I said before, it's the freshmen. It kind of gives us a different look, because they're playing well. They're always ready when their name is called. But I think it just makes it challenging for other, coaches to scout us because of our different lineups. We go small, we go, big sometimes. We play with 3 guards. So just giving, teams different looks, makes us, difficult to, guard.
Thanks, Trent.
Okay, we'll let that wrap it be the end for Trent here. Trent, keep it on, just hit mute and we'll get Plummer in there. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're ready in the queue.
Hey, Alfonso, I just want to ask you about Coleman and Andre. We didn't know what you guys would get out of them about a month ago, but what have they given you on this team?
And I'm talking about what, basketball-wise?
Yeah. I mean, just on the floor, obviously.
I ain't gonna lie, I feel like Cabello is back, that's the Cabello everybody was asking for. He's doing everything on the court. We got rebounds, playing hard on defense, talking. That was Cabello I was waiting for, man. And he's got back in just in time because we were about to go to a tournament, so I'm happy in that way. Coleman is just special, I feel like Coleman is an NBA caliber. Right now, a lot of people don't talk about him, but I feel like in the future, he's gonna have a chance for sure. He's a big man who can shoot, can play defense, and athletic. So I feel like they're doing a really good job in our team. And I know they're gonna step up again in the tournament, so I'm happy for that.
And congrats, Alfonso, on the third team, all Big Ten, the only transfer on an all Big Ten team. What would that mean to you personally to have that kind of impact and that kind of recognition in your 1 year here?
Yeah, I know it's special, I have to give credit out of my teammates. My teammates always trust me, in basketball wise and outside the court too. So that gave me confidence, to play the way I played. So yeah, I'm just proud, I'll be working out a lot, I'll be working on my game, fighting my ass off in every practice. So I feel like getting all these accolades, made me happy, to just, they recognize what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm really grateful.
Thanks, man.
Alfonso, obviously last year you weren't here when Illinois went on their Big Ten tournament championship run, but what have you learned from that experience from teammates, and what have they kind of told you?
Yeah, they said that's the best feeling, like I was in Utah and I never like made the tournament, and then them took into those 2 years. I didn't know, like how I was winning in that level, you know what I'm saying? So like, it was like, that's just the best feeling you can have. You work every day for a chip, and when you get it, it's like, the best feeling ever. So if you want to feel like that, you gotta like, work your ass off every day. And I feel like the results is gonna be on your way. So, that's kind of served me as a motivation, and it helped me, to play the way I play and help the team to be a champion. So that's the best feeling. Like they said, it's the best feeling, and I'm really happy with that happened.
And then, like, mentally, how do you prepare for a single elimination tournament where if you make one mistake or the team makes one mistake, it could lead to you guys being done?
Yeah, like March is the best and the worst month for every team. It can be the best when you win it all, but it can be the worst when you lose a game. So I feel like the preparations, you just got to be focused. You got to be strong mentally. Like you cannot let like distractions or like, stuff out of the court, get you in the way. So you got to always be focused and listen to coaches and do what they want you to do, and, find your role and in that situation, and, just find a way to win and trying to win it all.
Thanks, Alfonso.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, Alfonso, obviously Sunday was a pretty emotional scene and an emotional win. How do you guys turn forward into the Big Ten tournament after that?
I mean, it was a great emotional week for all of us. But at the end of the day, we're not done. We trying to like get to that NCAA tournament, because last year they lost. They lost against Loyola. Nobody was nobody was like looking forward to that. Like everybody was like, they do number 1 seed. They're going far. So it's kind of like sad. Like coach always talk about how the locker room was after that loss. So what I'm saying, like we like all of us. I'm part of that culture. So all of us now we like. Trying to find a way to get deeper in the tournament. That's the goal for us, to just trying to go find it forward and get and see what's going to go over there. But yeah,
I'm sure some of the guys have told you about the feeling after that Loyola loss. Is there any one story from any of those guys that sticks out in your mind about just kind of how they processed all that?
Yeah, they said like this, like Cabello, the first one, he said like he was like 2 months sad. About that situation. He said because he was a freshman and he saw all these seniors leaving without without the goals that they was looking for. It's really sad. So he said he's gonna like work harder next year to accomplish, and make everybody's happy. And I was like, wow, like this is like a family culture, right? This is a big time for real. So that like kind of shocked me. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do the same way because I'm a senior. So I have to like, be in the same boat, like try my hardest to do the best and be happy after whatever happens.
Thanks, Alfonso. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good morning, Alfonso. Any thoughts about who you might face in that matchup? What the different strengths and weaknesses, or who you might want to see in that first game?
Yeah, I mean, I think we waited for Indiana or Michigan. I feel like either both teams are great. Like they're great in offense. So I feel like we got to play a lot of good defense to stop them teams. Indiana got a lot of shooters. Michigan got good guards who can go 1-on-1, in the whole game. So we got to just stop the ball and have a lot of communication in the game, to find a way to get stops. But other than that, I know the offense is going to take care of itself. We got the best big man in the nation, in my opinion. I'm one of the best shooters. We got one of the best point guards, Trent. We got Cabello. We got a lot of guards, a lot of players that can do in the offensive side. So I feel like it's more like a defense situation. You know what I'm saying? We got to like get stops and everything's going to take care of itself.
Then how did that feel, the on-court celebration, kind of the mass of people talking on there? Like what was going through your mind then?
No, that's my first time storming the court. Like I never been in that situation. I was kind of crazy. I was in the middle with Trent, and I was like, "Whoa! Like this is the best feeling for sure. It's just crazy. I want to feel in this way again." You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's for sure something I will never forget.
Thanks, Alfonso.
For sure.
Good morning, Alfonso. Picking up on that, the first court storming. You're no young guy. You're 24, right?
Yeah.
And you've never been in a position like this before where you weren't kind of on the outside looking in, go into a conference tournament at Utah, not expected to win, and you didn't win. Were you always an NCAA tournament watcher, a March Madness watcher, and did you watch it with some bitterness because you weren't part of it?
Yeah. I mean, I know that a lot of players want to be in situations like this. You want to be the number one seed. You want to be the team that everybody talks about. You want to be, the main situations, you know what I'm saying, in the tournament. So I feel like I was sitting back and just watching the games, and I saw all these fans and all these people going crazy for their schools. I was like, damn, I want to be like that. I want to have that feeling. So I'm like, right now I'm in that position, and now I can tell how special it is. So
you think there's kind of an advantage to, having been around as long as you have, being 24 and not getting swallowed up by the pressure of the moment, of a March? Is this kind of like laid out perfectly for you?
Yeah, I'm not, I play a lot of years in basketball. I've been in a lot of situations that, that I've been down, over pressure, like when I'm nervous, a lot of people talking, smack about me, I've been in a lot of different situations in my life, and I know, I'm ready for anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm always focused. I'm always gonna, be in that court and do my best. Doesn't matter how, the pressure or how many fans are out in there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm ready for this situation. So yeah.
Real quick, lastly, have you done a lot of dreaming or visualizing of, that last shot in a March game, being the guy who takes that shot?
Well, yeah. I feel like a lot of shooters think that way. You go to the gym, you shoot a lot. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you go on your mind, you're like 5, 4, 3. You create your own situation, trying to make that shot. So I know a lot of shooters be in that situation. So that would be really special if that happened to me, and I'm ready. So if it really happens, it's not gonna be a surprise to me because I'm ready for that.
Thank you.
Hey, Alfonso. Trent mentioned that the first and second half of the season so far have been pretty different. You played in all 30 games. So, what on the team, or who on the team, or what part of the team has changed or gotten better so that you're ready to, have success in the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament moving forward compared to, the struggles you had at the first half of the season?
Yeah, I feel like the connection. I feel like at the beginning of the season, we were kind of disconnected. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, a lot of players want to go on their way, and then you got other people they're trying to figure out stuff out. So I feel like we was disconnected, and I feel that's what kept us losing or struggling in different games. And I feel like in the process of the season, we all start getting connected, start you're having this family vibe. You know what I'm saying? If you feel bad, talk to me. What you want to we have to figure something out so we can get better in this situation. So I feel like we're now more connected. We got a lot of guys who playing with a lot of confidence now. You know what I'm saying? Cabello's coming from the bench and he's playing like a starter. You know what I'm saying? That's how we got a lot of players playing with confidence. So I feel like I feel really good about what we're gonna do in the tournament and in the March Madness as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Alfonso, you can hit mute. Don't hang it up. Guys, stand by. I've got to transition upstairs for Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, good, go. Yep. Go ahead with your opening statement, Coach, and then we've got a number of people lined up in the queue.
Yep. Good to see everybody. Postseason basketball, it's here. It's March, exciting time of year. Obviously had one of the great evenings, days in my basketball life, and I hope that was felt by many. But Sunday was a day that a lot of emotions both ways, and it's why we play 20 games, and then we total them up at the end. And we see where we land and where we fall, and it's what happens when everybody's playing, and it's an exceptional league, and very, very proud of our locker room, very excited for our fans, but it goes beyond that. It's our university, it's our community, You know, it's our state. It was really fun to see tears of joy, you know, 55, 60-year-old people on the floor in tears, feeling that excitement. So now we put that one to rest. We put it behind us, and we move forward with the Big Ten tournament, and a tournament that is obviously one of the most competitive, top to bottom fields and tournaments in the country. There's no easy games. There's great opponents. It's a great atmosphere. Indianapolis is a great host, and so it's exciting. We'll figure out who we play and here after tomorrow, and you know, hopefully we're going to show up and play our tail off and play really hard.
The outside perception of Michigan and Indiana is that they're big men-dominated programs. Is that your perception? Does it help scout whichever team you do wind up playing?
Well, I mean, we just played Michigan, so that'll be fairly fresh. You know, Indiana's, you know, was a little while ago, but you know, I think they're programs with great players. You know, they're historic programs, and they're programs that have, you know, are always good. You know, they've always got good players, good coaches, and their challenges. So, you know, whatever their personnel, you know, the postseason play is about getting hot. It's about playing with an edge. It's about playing hard, and you're going to have to do that no matter who you play.
Does freshness mean you rather avoid Michigan or you'd rather play Michigan?
Oh, it doesn't matter. We got no choice. So it doesn't, I've got no preference either way. And, you know, we've got to be us, and we've got to go out and do what we do to be able to win games in this tournament.
Thanks.
Hi, Coach. You won this tournament last year. I know you want to win it again, but how much of an eye do you have on improving your seeding for the NCAA tournament? And have you taken a look at the net rankings yet?
I haven't. I haven't looked at net. I know we've been hovering around 15, you know, but I haven't checked in a couple of weeks, to be honest. You know, I want to win the tournament. You know, I want to see if you know, I'd love to put back to back on something. And you know, we're not going in this, and you guys know me, you know, we're never going to not play hard and to trying to not win. And along the lines, you know, if that helps seeding, great. You know, I got to think that there's probably only so high we can go at this point, and you know, you've had a pretty solid group, I think, ahead, you know, but you know, I don't know. Those for somebody else to determine. We've obviously got unique circumstances in some cases. I mean, we lost a couple of games without Kofi. You know, Cabello's back and healthy. And I mean, we'd be hard pressed to find, you know, more games missed than some of our guys have had. So, you know, what consideration that takes, I don't know, but you know, it's that's not for me to determine. All we're going to do is I'm going to control what I can control, and that's hopefully the guys wearing the uniforms and go out and play hard.
Any update on Jake?
He's getting better. Yeah, we'll see. They're getting better. I mean, he was running around in practice gear today, and you know, he was not in practice, but getting fitted for the right, I don't know, whatever stuff those trainers put him in, but you know, something like Trent, I'm sure.
Thanks, Coach.
Brad, how do you best sum up the regular season now that it was put to bed? You guys had to fight through a lot of adversity with injuries, COVID, suspensions, but in the end, got what you guys ultimately wanted, which was a Big Ten title.
Yeah, I think it was one of perseverance. I think it was one of toughness. I think it was gritty. It was sure not easy. Nothing is easy in this league. I don't care who you've got in uniform. It's not easy. You know, I think it's hard winning on the road, you know, going 7-3. I'm excited by that. We've had a, you know, very, very challenging month of February. And yet I think we've continued to improve, and it's why I said you always have to play them all and see where you end up. And to be at the top of this league is special. It means a lot. And that's a goal. And, I'm happy for the locker room, and those guys have worked really hard to achieve that.
And as far as expectations, you guys have had very lofty expectations for yourselves all season. Does that ramp up, or do you feel that more of that weight on your shoulders, or see the team deal with that more now that we're in the win and go home part of the year?
No, I think I think we've got our program to a point where we understand we're kind of the hunted, and we've had to deal with that. We spent a lot of the year in first or close to it. So, we saw a lot of people's best games, and so I think there's no pressure. I think it's just us going out and playing extremely hard and being extremely focused and understanding that, we've got nobody to blame if we don't play hard.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Coach, you've spoken a couple of times about how tough the month of February was. And when you look at some of the teams you played, they were teams in the top half of the Big Ten. Not taking anything away from those teams at the bottom half of the Big Ten, but playing the teams that are competing for a Big Ten championship and likely to go farther in the NCAA tournament. Is that a good thing for you guys before the Big Ten tournament?
I don't know. We did it last year. We had, some different circumstances because of COVID, but, you look at that stretch where you're at Indiana, you're at Purdue, you're at Rutgers, you're at Michigan State, you're at Michigan. I looked at that in August and, man, that's pretty daunting. And, but that was February. And I think it makes you better. I think that's the way I look at it. I think it prepares you, and all those are incredible venues with really good teams and really good players. And, if you slip in any of those games, you get beat. And I think there's lessons to be learned in all of that.
And then last week, you spoke a lot about how you guys carried yourself with a chip on your shoulder and energy going into the Big Ten tournament because you wanted to prove that you were the best team in the league. Are you trying to replicate that mindset, or are you trying to just kind of go in here with the same kind of attitude that you've had for the last couple of months?
I think we're going the same way. We're trying to be even keel. We're trying to have the mindset that we're playing really good teams, and we've got to do what we do. We've got to play really hard. And it's kind of the same approach that we had down the stretch this year, is let's just go play really hard. We didn't play great against Iowa. Watch film, we didn't play great, but we did play really hard. And we've got to bank on our effort being something that helps us get over the top.
Thanks, Coach.
Brad, it seems to me that winning a Big Ten conference title is as difficult, if not more difficult, than winning an NCAA tournament over the grind of a 20-game season. Do you think it will be appreciated well down the road, no matter what happens here in March for you?
Absolutely. I think when you hang banners and you put up accomplishments of like that, those become teams that are honored. Those are become teams that have 10-year reunions, 20-year reunions. Those not to take away from any of the other teams, but those are the teams that are celebrated, and they're celebrated for, especially at Illinois, they're celebrated for life. I mean, we all hear about the 89 Flying Illini, and we hear about all the championships, but when you hang banners, that's pretty special. And it's what makes this program great.
Thanks a lot, Brad.
Brad, how do you, to turn the page from such an emotional game on Sunday, an emotional atmosphere, is that something you do? Is that something led by, Trent, DeMonte, Kofi? How do you guys go about doing that? Because we talked a lot about how that kind of maybe bit you guys a little bit in the NCAA tournament last year.
Yeah, experience helps. So those guys know. Those guys know what a bad feeling that was. They know, they don't deny that, that Tuesday when we practiced, or Monday, whatever else, I don't even know what day it was a bad practice before the NCAA tournament. Yeah, it's got to be, we've addressed it. We addressed it in the summer, and yeah, and that's why, I think we're trying to take a more even keel approach, and it is a tournament. It's 3 games in 3 days to win it. And for us, and you've got to bring your best every night. And we celebrate winning. There's no doubt about that. It's an important part of our program. It's all, just getting refocused. This year was different. I mean, we could actually celebrate that win. We got to put that one to bed. Last year we never left. We were stuck in quarantine. We were isolated individually. This year we actually got to celebrate it and have a moment, have a staff, get together and have, and then have a day off but celebrate and put it to bed. And then, Tuesday morning, here we are, we're back at the grind. It's on to something new. And that's been our approach.
Yeah, I'm curious, like last year when you guys left for Indy, it was, we're going to be there until, could have been a month for however long you guys went. Is it different this year having those, you're going to be there for, maybe 3 or 4 days, and you can block up these trips, you'll have another bus trip or a flight trip, however.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. It sounded like a great idea, when the NCAA tournament moved to one site, but actually living it and living in quarantine and isolation and never going outside, that wasn't great. That wasn't great. And we never got to enjoy the Big Ten tournament championship. We were whisked off after the locker room and put in, given a Chick-fil-A sandwich and put in quarantine. And, for that whole next day, we were 24 hours. We didn't see anybody, and we just sat in our room and got a knock on the door and met your meal was there. And, until 11 o'clock that next Tuesday, when we practiced, we hadn't seen each other. So we never got to celebrate and enjoy that moment. And this year was different because we got to put a final touch on it.
Sorry, one more if I could. Do you have any expectation that Jake will be available at any time between now and Sunday?
He was in practice today, so we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what that means. We're not going to jeopardize. We're not going to do anything to jeopardize him one way or another. We want to make sure he's healthy for the NCAA tournament.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad, this is the 3rd trip to Indy in 3 years for this week, all sort of under wildly different circumstances. What's kind of the feeling going back now where, it's not like last year and, hopefully it's not like the year before that?
Another place to play. To me, it's that simple. It's where the tournament's at. We've got to go play. I think it's nice, the fact that this will be very different from the standpoint we'll have fans. And it was so cool last year in Lucas Oil, the fans we had there, because there was a ton of orange and blue, and it was the first time they saw us. This year's NCAA tournament experience as well will be much different, just from the standpoint that there'll be fans. But, we're going to play in front of a packed house, this weekend in the Big Ten tournament. It's what makes it unique and fun. And that's the biggest difference.
This is a entirely different subject, but, 2 of the last 3 home games have been, alleged incidents between fans and opposing players. And there's nothing you can maybe do in the moment, but are you concerned that it's kind of been a trend in the last few weeks?
Yeah. I think that, we've got a very, very good fan base. We got a passionate fan base, and they're the best in the country. And yet we want to do things with, a certain level of class. Our program, we've had contact with the Murrays, and that was, we don't ever want to cross a line. For the most part, it's a few individuals. It happens way too often. We saw a fight break out last night in NCAA conference tournament. It's becoming too common, and our program has to be way above that. And I don't want the Murrays or anybody at Iowa or anybody else to think that. But it's, you know, I think that it's can't be taken too far, and that and some of those comments we're taking it too far, and we can't be that. We're better than that. We're the University of Illinois, and we want them to be passionate and have fun. You know, the university, the athletic departments put out a big, you know, a big deal on social media, and you know what our players receive in social media is 100 times worse than stuff that gets said in our arena. And we talk to our players about ignoring that and not listening. But the social media stuff is every bit as bad, if not worse. And you know, I'm sorry for the Murrays that they had to experience that in our building. But again, it's something that we'll continue to address as we move into home games next year.
Thank you.
And Brad, I'm just going to ask about Coleman. I know kind of a couple weeks ago, you kind of talked about kind of wanting to, I guess, get rid of, I think it was the term was kind of the angst out of his game, I guess. And it seems like he's been kind of resilient coming in for Jake and coming in cold against Penn State. How has he kind of improved in that area, and how much has that kind of meant to you guys over the last couple of days?
Well, I think his talent's shown. I think we're starting to see that that just tremendous energy with which he plays with, and you know, he cares so deeply about winning, and he's an instinctive player. You know, he's made some blocks this year that are just crazy good and important. And you know, whether it's I keep telling everybody he's a great shooter. You know, he didn't even hesitate on the pick and pop three. You know, and he hits a little floater, and he just knows how to make winning plays. And you know, now we're starting to see that confidence help elevate his game, and he's a big piece of what we're doing.
Yeah, and I guess it seems like you guys have kind of gone through almost every lineup imaginable with all kind of injuries and I guess COVID. I mean, kind of playing and kind of having to test different lineups out of necessity, does that kind of help you or lend itself to the advantages this time of year?
I hope. You know, I mix our lineups up in practice. The only day that I ever run the starters together is actually the day before. So I mix the lineups up on purpose with that intent. And I want everybody to feel comfortable no matter who's out there with them. And but I you know, I think that's happened this year. I usually like to have a pretty set pattern because of the injuries. I've had not even close to that. So, but there's been some positives come out of that.
Thanks, Brad.
Brad, on the defensive end of the floor, go back to the last 9 minutes against Iowa, and you held them to 2 field goals. Is that starting to turn on at the right time for you guys on that end of the floor?
I sure hope so, because the 11 of 12 streak that Iowa was on before that. You know, I've said it all year. The one thing we miss about Andre Cabello, elite defender. Not good, elite defender. Hardly ever gets screened. He's one of the most instinctive players that I've ever coached. And, you know, he's a great defensive rebounder. You know, Coleman continues to add to that piece, as does RJ Melendez. And, you know, I had RJ in at the end of the game. And, you know, those guys have great instincts and great athleticism and length. And, you know, so it was a very comfortable stretch for me with those guys on the court.
Probably a better question for Joey Biggs, but do you know where you're practicing when you go to Indy? Is it Hinkle again, or do you go find a, you know, IUPUI gym or something like that?
I think we're at Hinkle.
Okay.
Brad, you lost your best player, your leader in Iowa last year. and you still find yourself here winning the Big Ten regular season tournament and preparing to defend your title in the Big Ten tournament. Who or what about your team this year allowed you to not only rebound from losing Io, but also kind of almost improve and win a Big Ten regular season title instead of, falling short last year?
Well, I'll disagree with you that we fell short. And in terms of the banner, we did. But when you win 16 games in this league, some technicality in my mind is not going to define the fact that we played every game and had a lot of success. But all the credit goes to the guys in the locker room, because you lose Io, great player. We had Georgie declare, we had Ace leave, and you've got to have sustainability in your locker room based on character. And yeah, you've got to have good players, but you don't do that without culture, without an understanding of what it takes to win. And culture is a word that's thrown out a lot, but we have a really good culture, and we have really good players. And so I think it's a combination of all that. We withstand the losses, and put ourselves in a position to just be right back where we were. So I think there's a lot of credit that goes to the character in the locker room.
Right. So a lot of the character guys that have been in the program for a long time, like Trent, DeMonte, et cetera, it's those guys who are kind of, beyond their on-court contributions. They're the guys that help,
they lead.
success.
Yeah, they lead. And I said it 100 times my first 2 years. If I have to continually lead every single day, we're not going to be very good, because then I can't coach. And those guys set a standard. And it's, truth be told, it's why they came back, was to make a deeper run and do great things. And their standard is what they pass on to their teammates, and they rally around, and that's again goes to the character of those guys.
Thank you.
Hey, Brad, apologies for getting a little ahead of myself, but I want to ask you this in the middle of the postseason. The fans were chanting one more year with Kofi, and usually for a two-time All-American, that'd be pretty unrealistic. But how much has NIL and the current state of college athletics changed decisions for a guy like him, Oscar Tshiebwe, and guys like that?
I think it impacts it a dramatic amount. I think that there's, we have zero control over what their perception is at the next level, so to speak. But now we have a way that maybe enhances their situation as a college student athlete through NIL, that can be a much better option than potentially the G League or the European model. And along the way, that enhances guys' opportunities. Kofi in his situation is very, very close to graduating, and so it continues to enhance those situations for the student athlete, and not just a dollar and cents way, but also an academic way, and that's been a really positive. Anytime we've got something out there that helps keep student athletes in school, it's a really good thing.
Yeah, and I know, Brad, you got to let him make his own decision. Is there anything different? I know you guys can't set up anything with NIL and that, but what are your conversations like with Kofi as he goes through that in the future?
None yet. I don't know. I mean, we'll discuss it. I have to be honest. I haven't thought a whole bunch about any of that yet. There'll be a time and a place. And right now, I know he's, he got 4 miles on the treadmill after practice yesterday. I mean, his focus is pretty much, let's go win a tournament.
Understood. Thanks, Brad.
Oh, hey, Coach. Good morning.
Good morning.
You touched earlier on, the difference in celebration between the banner last year and the banner this year. Obviously, the world being very different, but in terms of a basketball standpoint, a basketball accomplishment, just what are your general feelings of what it was like to win a Big Ten regular season crown versus the Big Ten tournament?
The conference play is such a mental grind. It is a marathon. The Big Ten tournament is a sprint, and and you got to play great to win it. You do. We had unbelievable game with Ohio State last year in the championship. But you truly don't go through the ebbs and flows of 2 early December games when you're not playing very well and you still don't know who you are to, man, I got a back-to-back and, it's and West Lafayette and in East Lansing, it's just a mental, it's a mental grind. So to me, there's, we talk about a lot winning the 10 and we want to do that because I think it shows some toughness and some grit and perseverance and everything that happens from sickness to an injury. You have to deal with all that over the course of those months.
And I remember talking to you at the first or one of the first Illinois Athletic Hall of Fame Gala. I think it was the first one in 2017. You discussed the program getting its swagger back right around the time Illinois, the all-time AP poll came out and Illinois was ranked number 11. So, you got 2 conference titles. You had a 1 seed last year, obviously still waiting for a deep run in the NCAA tournament. But what defines getting swagger back? Do you feel like it's getting close? Is it there?
Yeah, we're getting there. I think the crowds that we get, the attitude of the people that come to the games, you guys, the way you look at us, I think that the way that the league looks at us, the way that the recruits look at us, I can't control all of those situations, obviously, but I think it's the way that you guys and everybody else just kind of perceives our program. And when you win, I get it. People want to be associated with winners. That's human nature. That's life in every aspect. If you're in the real estate business, you're not going to go with a crappy realtor. You're going to go with one that sells houses and it's just life. And so I think that it's, our perception has changed. We've done it with packed houses. We've done it with the remodel of Ubben practice facility. We've done it with Io DeSumo and his, so I think it's just, it's a lot of things. And with that, gives you and your program and everybody involved in your program and around your program a shot of confidence and swagger.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Morning, Brad. Maybe we'll finish this where you started it with a reference to 55 to 60-year-olds crying after the Iowa game. You don't need to tell me that you fall squarely into that age range. Are you the crier in this story? And if so, what brought it up?
Yeah, I've always been emotional. You can go back to, people don't realize how much they impact our lives and my life. And, I'll still never forget Thomas Walkup's last game and sitting on that podium. And, and it's no different with Trent. It's that way every year. And you see these guys, and they call it boys basketball in high school for a reason, and men's in college, because it's that transformation, and you see them grow up. I mean, just look back at a picture with Trent and that god awful ugly blonde hair he had, and all those little things, and you go through so many things with them, good and bad, and you try to help mold them. And man, I get very emotional, and I mean, I'll give you an example. I was watching I didn't pay one lick of attention to the Coach K stuff until the game. And I sat there and I'm watching the post game, and my wife looked over and she goes, "You're crying." And I don't know Coach K like that. I don't. And I said, yeah. I said, this is so rare. This is over. This may never, ever, ever happen again. And I said, a coach is celebrated for his career. And I said, to me, that's really sad. That's where we've gotten to. You know, that doesn't happen. We all get fired and we move on. And it's just, thank you for what you've done. And to me, man, that's not what this is about. We watched Trent Frazier grow up, DeMonte Williams, and we tell the stories but if we don't win enough games, we get fired. And that's, to me, seeing a moment like that with Coach K, that to me, that's why I originally got into this, you know, is to just see people grow and use basketball as a tool. And so that's where my emotion comes from. I'm very emotional that way.
Appreciate that.
Brad, if I could have a little fun with the last one, now that you guys can exist out of a hotel room in Indianapolis, what is the go-to or recommended order for St. Elmo's?
Well, there'll be a whole lot of shrimp cocktail to start with. There will be a very good glass of I'll figure it out when I get there, of Cabernet. And then I'm just kind of I'll probably go filet tonight. I think I haven't had a steak in a while, and wedge salad, and we'll have a nice dinner. Be fun.
Thanks, Brad.